Welcome back to StarCraft 2 World Championship Series Europe Premier League Season 1, round of 16. We're getting very close to the end now. The hype is about to be ramped up to a whole new level. It is time for the losers game between Feast and DIMAGA. Let's check in with our brackets just to confirm where we are right now. As you can see on your screen, Stefano confirmed as the winner of the upper, having won 2 out of 2, both 2-1s. He now advances to the quarterfinal, where we will have the draw at the end of the show. Next matchup, it's the Beast from the East against the Beast that is Feast. Yes, I went there. And it's time to send it over to your commentary team once more. It's Apollo and Kalaris.
Red eye, red eye, red eye. Well, there was even face palms in the crowd there. I'm gonna face palm now. All right, so we now have our second, well, not ours, they are second, our series on the way between Mr. Feast and DIMAGA. And Apollo?
Yes.
I've got to ask you your predictions here.
DIMAGA's always been very good at stopping different kind of assaults. DIMAGA in the round of 32 played Zergling Ultralisk, like Stefano did at DreamHack, and Feast had no problems against that style. So it's very difficult to call. I would put it in favor of DIMAGA, but if Feast plays well, then I think Feast could do it too. So it's like kind of this cheesy middle-of-the-road answer, sorry.
Oh well. We'll get there in the end. We'll see with our own eyes what happens, Apollo.
It's because I knew they were listening. DIMAGA's quite scary.
Yeah. Although that being said, they're like 2 of the most smiley people in the entirety of StarCraft 2. So you got very nice smiles amongst them. Although nobody's smiling now. They're picking the maps.
Accolon Waste, normal pick here for DIMAGA to get rid of. Just don't like that. And not Zerg players, they just don't like that map because Protoss players can take a pretty fast third. Reminds a lot of Zerg players of Entomb Valley. The way that they can take a third, and Protoss has 2 ramps, or 2 at least bases. With the rocks, it's almost like a ramp, to be honest. Easier to defend. Newkirk Precinct, just a map that no one really likes to play on.
Nope, goes away.
Neoplanet S from DIMAGA.
Curious. I think he might have been scared a little bit of potential Feasts. Immortal little plays there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's so hard to deal with.
That's a good point, actually. And the last map to be vetoed is... I think he'd keep Daybreak in. Whirlwind, okay, Whirlwind's going to go. So, Bel'shir, Vestige, Daybreak, and Star Station. 3 maps.
I bet we go with Bel'shir, Vestige first. Oh, no, I don't think he said that. I think he might have said
Star Station. I think he said Star Station. Yeah. Star Station's a pretty good map. I think the next map will probably be Bel'shir, Vestige, and then just Daybreak on the end. Depends on how Feast wants to play this out, but I think it'll be Bel'shir Vestige next. I'm not sure exactly, but Star Station, a pretty good map for DIMAGA to play on. We all know that for Protoss players, it's difficult to take that middle of the map, and that Zerg players can really clamp down hard on it from different angles.
I think he said Bel'shir Vestige, judging by what we were reading. So we have Feast versus a football player in the form of Mr. DIMAGA. He geared up, Adidas ready to go.
Surprisingly, DIMAGA's still without a team. I've heard rumors that there may be one in the making.
Yeah.
Well, a contract deal in the making for DIMAGA, but not yet. Could move on to the round of 8. Teamless would be quite a big surprise.
Yeah, it's interesting because if he does, then arguably that kind of raises his value, right? In terms of the European scene and stuff like that. I have also heard murmurs though of DIMAGA landing deals.
I was very surprised he wasn't announced with the initial Na'Vi team. I thought that would just be a very normal thing to happen. Na'Vi having a lot of Ukrainians in the team. I thought that would be the case, but not so. So DIMAGA's been teamless for quite a while now. MTW folding, I don't know, roughly, 6 months ago now, maybe? It's been quite a while, I think.
Yeah, it has. And then we have Star Station, Bel'shir, Vestige, and Daybreak, so our lip-reading abilities were correct.
So, looking at the first map, Star Station, I think that Feast, our youngest participant in the Europe Premier League here, has 2 options. He slowly takes a third base, and when I say slowly, he may have to wait quite a while to have enough of an army to defend that third base, enough sentries to cover a large area, or he just says, screw it, I won't take it, and then just move on to some kind of 2-base attack. And DIMAGA's going to be thinking about this. And I wonder if DIMAGA's going to bring his Ling Ultra style from a couple of weeks back. We've seen him change up against Thorzane from Ling Ultra. against Terran, that is, into Roach Hydra. We'll see what's going to happen here today. DIMAGA's got a couple of decisions to be made.
He does, and in turn, as does Mr. Feast. I think that going into this series, if it goes the whole 3 games, I think we will see Mr. Feast use his sound-cancelling headphones, as well as also that Immortal play that he went for against Stefano. It is really strong. I think if it was ever going to come out, it would probably come out on a map like Daybreak in game number 3. But for now, we are in game number 1. Star Station is the map, and spawning up to the top left, as are Red Protoss. One of these players is on the verge of being knocked down to Challenger League, representing France and representing Millennium. Give it up for Feast.
That's Feast, guys.
That's Feast.
Yeah.
Not booing, just Feast. Okay, 4th at the Intellectual Masters World Championship. Did all right for himself there. Was eventually countered, actually, by Mr. MMA. But spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner here, as are Blue Zerg. Representing no team, but representing the Ukraine. He goes by the name of DIMAGA.
And talking about both of these players and their countries, you know, DIMAGA single-handedly putting Ukraine back onto the map in this tournament if he's able to advance through. We had a couple of players from Ukraine, of course, through Strelok, I think was the other guy, but he couldn't quite make it through on day 1, I think it was, of the round of 16. On the other hand, though, Feast from Belgium, I think the last time we saw a pretty successful Belgian player was O'Reilly, maybe?
Really?
Like the former World of Warcraft player into StarCraft 2 Zerg player.
Yeah, he won the Belgium Nationals. Second was Elvis, I believe, back in the previous year. Feast, again, was not able to attend that. Actually, to clarify, he did technically place 8th at WCS Belgium, but that's because he just got a death loss in the first round, so there was only 8 players participating in the end.
Yeah, not a big scene in Belgium, so it's cool to see a small country have such a large player like Feast in the scene at this point. And DIMAGA is...
Cheers for the drone chasing away the probe.
Yeah, trying to get that hatchery down. It does come down eventually. So spawn and pool hatchery opening compared to Nexus here. It is cross position. DIMAGA needs to make a decision whether he takes a gas or third hatchery before the Overlord gets there in this map, unfortunately, which can hurt you sometimes, but without taking a gas so far, it seems like he may be looking to take that third hatchery, which in this case would actually work out for him.
And with that forge opening from Feast, we know it's not going to be that earlier robo for maybe, you know, like that 2 Immortal, a lot of Zealots pressure. It would be hard to make it work on this map anyway. Yep. Very open in the middle of the map, hard to get across the map without being completely caught out by speedlings or something like that. So good decisions for Feast on this map thus far.
Yeah, there's a third hatchery coming down. Feast is a big Blink play fan, and we haven't seen it from him today. He always has been a Blink fan, to be honest, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we saw something like that come out of him here. But anything is really possible from Feast. I definitely feel that he's going to take an aggressive approach. That's the way that he was able to pick up the 2 wins against Stefano, the 1 win earlier against Stefano through that aggression, and almost 2 wins. Almost 2 wins on Daybreak. That was a clear, nice push from him. But we'll see what's going to happen.
It was, but in the end did not work on out. We have the Cybernetics core finishing, or on the way at least, for Feast here. And even killing off the Destructible Rocks. Has to be a little bit careful with that sometimes, just in case Zerglings wanted to poke on in and didn't get the shots he needed to on Zerglings once they poke along, but decides to revert his shots, and that cheeky Overlord just sitting right out of range of that cannon. I
know DIMAGA really hasn't been that active in Heart of the Swarm, but in Wings of Liberty, I'm not sure. I don't think versus Protoss was ever his really best matchup.
Well, DIMAGA in...
I think he was always pretty good in Zerg versus Zerg, and Zerg versus Terran was, you know, pretty good.
It was basically sitting at the fact that in Wings of Liberty, at least, arguably, versus Protoss was his weakest matchup.
It was his weakest.
53% win ratio against 58% in Zergs and 56% in Terran. So very close, but... He wasn't known for his Protoss matchup, you're right.
I don't think he was always good, but he was never like, wow, you know, DIMAGA's great versus Protoss. I mean, he was to a certain extent sometimes bad when his Zergling Baneling bombs and so on that didn't work out a lot of times, especially in the finals against Mana at that one DreamHack where it was just literally Archon plays and they won the game, that simple.
And actually, I was thinking about that on the way home last night. The fact that you're seeing a lot of Zergs opening up that very heavy Ling style that DIMAGA's done forever and ever and ever, and then you go back to that final where Mana was just going, right, you play a lot of Lings, I'm going to go Zealot Archon and charge, and then he just kind of killed him. Like, what? It would be interesting to see if Protoss actually mixed that back in.
Yeah, we'll see. It very well could happen. One Void Ray coming out from Feast. This is the same play that we saw earlier, and I think if he's going to open up with a single Void Ray again, this follow-up should be for a fast robotics facility, for a pretty fast robotics bay too. He really likes the one Void Ray clearing out Overlords into a super fast switch over to robotics facility and robotics bay, where he can take a quite fast third base, and he's going to try and take a fast third base by the looks of it, unless he goes through a 2-base Colossus push. He's going to try to take a fast third base on a map that's very difficult to hold. If DIMAGA watched his game earlier against Stefano and realizes that that fast third is coming, I would not be surprised if Stefano tried to pressure it. He's only got one evolution chamber building. With only one evolution chamber, that's a lot more money. Oh, okay, there's a second. I was going to say a lot more money thrown into an army. I really agree that the DIMAGA has to be aggressive, I feel, against this play if this is going to happen.
I know this is like the noobiest question I've ever asked of all time, but are Overlords armored?
Yes, they are.
All right, okay then. Well, then the charge is quite apt. I don't know why I couldn't remember that, but...
is DIMAGA taking a 4th base? He's got a drone in position on the 4th.
Is it a drone, or is it... Oh, yeah, okay.
And if he is taking a 4th base off seeing just a single Void Ray, he's basically saying, yes, I could be aggressive against this, or I'll just take an even greedier 4th base, knowing that you're going to take a fast third. And I think that he's basically picking his opponent's strategy off just seeing a single Void Ray here. He's going to clarify with these Zerglings what's going on, but this is actually really, really smart from DIMAGA in the instance of, look how he's playing double Evolution Chamber. He's going for a lot of links to try to cancel this. If he gets a cancel and maintains a 4th base,
great.
He actually sets himself up beautifully.
He really does, and all of that was off the reactions of exactly what has happened just there. Gets that cancellation, sets up that 4th base, finest stuff, and he's getting triple evolution chambers. Oh, my brain just exploded. I love seeing this kind of style, but it has to come with the proviso that if you're going to go for it, you have to be sure your opponent is not going to be attacking anytime soon because you've got so much invested in those upgrades.
Yeah, I'm interested in his play here. I think the missile attacks is more so for tech switches later on.
Yeah.
I think he's going to maintain a Ling Hydra play potentially. No, a Ling, just a Ling only play initially, because I think he's going to be rushing up. I mean, it could be Swarm Hosts, thinking about it. But we'll see. DIMAGA usually likes just Zergling only, but with the Infestation pick coming down at this time, I suppose it would have to be. Infestors, not so much here.
Yeah, it's not
and
really
he's not going to rush up to Hive. He's not ready to go Hive, I don't think, this early. He could be, though.
Yeah, well, she'll see. What is he going to opt for is the question. There's Twilight Councils going down behind this for Feast, and there's a lot more Zerglings in production here for DIMAGA, so he should know that. There we go.
Yeah, it is Hive. Okay, so going straight up to Hive. He's also double expanding 4th and 5th base at the same time. DIMAGA playing very greedy in this game. Only defensive Zerglings. Yeah, so the missile attacks is what I thought it would be initially. It was just for tech switches as the game goes on, because he's already upgrading Carapace. If all of a sudden he's on Ling Ultra, and then switches over to Roach Hydra or something, and becomes a very powerful switch with the missile attacks being already made, and likewise over for Swarm Host too in the later stages.
Is that about Spire though already here to accumulate all of this? So, and that has been spotted very quickly there by Feast. Does he know that the Hive is going down as well? Yes, he does. So Feast has a lot of good intel here to determine what his opponent is up to.
He has a lot of good intel, but too much intel, because it's very misleading on what exactly his opponent's doing. Feast doesn't really care at this point. He's not looking to build an army to deal with the best possible army that DIMAGA is going to make. He's going to build an army to go across the map and kill him before he can get to that position. He's seen the Hive morphing. So with these 5 extra gateways and +2 and Blink on the way, we're going to see Feast move across the map. He's actually going to try and kill the 4th and kill DIMAGA.
This is getting very, very interesting right now. Feast is going to push these Overlords away for a second with this one annoying Void Ray that actually there's not much anti-air to deal with that on these 3 Queens that now waddle on over. And he gets an Overlord for his troubles, but Adrenal Glands has started. They upgrade the flying. He's getting the Ultralisk Cavern down as well. You're right, he scouts out the Spire, but I don't think it's really going to come into play too much.
Well, the Greater Spire can be used for a transition over to Mulus. It can also be used for transition to Greater Spire 2 later on. But for now, he's just taking his gases, and he will be playing Ultralisks. At this point, DIMAGA needs to buy time. Zerglings alone is not good enough against this. There's 2 Colossus. A full surround shouldn't really happen here. How many sentries are there? 5 sentries and Time Warp? DIMAGA's going to try and go for the surround. Look at his links. He's going to try and come from all angles here.
And he's always so good about doing this. He throws down force fields, but it's not enough. He actually is unable to completely seal that off. Time Warp goes down as well, but look at how fast all of those gateway units end up falling, along with the Queens to support as well. They're trying to force on forwards here, trying to get to those Colossi, but when Colossus died to Zerglings, as Feast would say, you're not going to have a good time at all. 100 supply to
Wow,
an 8-5.
GG.
GG, oh my god.
DIMAGA just wins with Lings. The force fields were not good enough. They were not good enough at that point. They should have stopped the Lings from coming in. If he'd done that, he would have been in much better shape. But DIMAGA just cleans it up with just Zerglings alone, and they were only at 1-1. They were just 1-1 Zerglings, defeated an entire army.
But the thing is as well is that DIMAGA's done this. He did it in the round of 32. He actually uses the Queen backup, that if the Colossi stray too far forwards, then the Queens start using their anti-air range attack against them. So their range is so strong against those Colossi, and weirdly, in a weird world of DIMAGA, the Queens are a pretty good counter to Colossus.
Yeah, I mean, they're great, but I still feel that Feast could have attacked so much better into that, but at the same time, he had to move down, whether it be coming to the right-hand side of that Xel'Naga tower or the left. It was going to be open to a surround from Lings. Force fields, maybe even focusing on adding a few more force fields into that composition too, or sentries, should I say. But just 1-1 Zerglings, just a perfect surround from DIMAGA, picks up the first game between these two guys, and that's going to be quite stressful for Feast to approach this next game with.
All right, and the second map is going to be Bel'shir Vestige, which DIMAGA already showed great utilization of good surrounds on this map during the round of 32 once again. He was able to really pick and choose his fights to the point where he does exactly the same thing as he just did on Star Station. So Feast has to be very careful. I think once again, it comes back to the point of Feast has to be aggressive early on, and maybe use a mothership call to recall, try and do some damage that way. He has to do something.
Well, the next map is Bel'shir Vestige. It is a map where Feast does like to go gateway expand on and take more control of the game. But look how, I mean, if you see how Feast played for an early third base, DIMAGA chose the option to grab a fast third, a fast fourth, should I say, a very fast fourth, triple engineering bay, only Zerglings. He's playing very greedy against an opponent who is trying to take a fast third. You know, Feast can either try to take the game by his own hands and play a bit more assertive from gateway and mothership calls, as you say, or he just goes ahead and two-base all-ins.
Yeah.
Against that previous build, it would work, of course.
It has to do something, and we'll see if he's going to come up with it. As we do have spawning up to the top left as our Red Protoss. He's on the verge of elimination. If he gets knocked out here, we are guaranteed only one Protoss in the round of 8. He needs your cheers. Give it up for Millennium Feast. Oh, you guys. And spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner as our blue Zerg. One game away from advancing on to play Thorzane for that round of 8 spot. Give it up for DIMAGA.
All right, well, DIMAGA, after not such a great opening today, much cleaner, stronger game against Feast here, and Feast definitely looking to get this gateway play in, as you talked about, so I feel that he will be looking maybe for a bit of double zealot mothership core pressure early on to try and get the queen, the natural queen down, but definitely mothership core focused recalls, I suppose.
Yeah, I think the aggressive play for Feast, it just works out. It's just more his style. I feel that with the conformities he kind of pushes himself into with more macro-based games, you can have players that just prefer more aggression or prefer more macro, and Feast,
yeah,
for him, I love when we see aggressive plays for him. I really think it plays to his strengths.
Well, remember, if Feast loses here, we would only have one Protoss player in the round of 8.
Yep.
Feast is fighting to deliver a second Protoss in the round of 8. Likewise for DIMAGA. If DIMAGA loses... no, actually, sorry, there's 2 Zergs now. Tilo and Stefano through.
He's fighting to be arguably the third.
Yeah, third. Depending on what Thorzane has to say about things, if he's going to join the ranks of the other Terrans in this tournament.
And he looked scary before.
He did look pretty good. All right, so Gateway expansion into taking a little bit of a later cybernetics core here. We'll see if he's going to chrono boost the Gateway at this point. It can be into the Nexus again, or it's either into the Gateway or saved up for the chrono boost onto the cybernetics core here, but I think it's going to be Gateway. Okay, never mind, it is going to be just into the Nexus. So he's not going to rush out to be aggressive with double zealots or anything at this point. He could have, but no.
And again, it's kind of a hard map if the Overlord gets the right positioning next to the natural. It's a hard map to go for that kind of 2 Immortal Zealot play, because you already see that the gases are never taken at the natural. You saw that the second gas was taken in the main as well, and that kind of leans towards it not being that earlier aggression that we saw from Feast on Neo Planet.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to try... I mean, he still could go for an Immortal push, just the older style school way of doing it. We'll see, though. But with taking a second gas, it seems like he will be wanting to tech up to a Stargate. Most likely here, once this Mothership core gets itself out here. DIMAGA does have eyes on that natural, and will always have eyes on the natural third and fourth gas. But DIMAGA in this game, playing a little bit different this time, went for Zergling Speed to get the Gateway Expand, and just adapting to his opponent's build a little bit here. And with 3 queens, I think, well, 2 at the moment, 3 on the way. Yeah, 3 on the way. Yep. He will be looking to take this third base. And a little bit here.
And the wall-off begins for Feast at the front, so just getting those gateways in that wall. No Forge going down just yet, so no super quick +1 assault on the way for Feast. And if he does add on a Forge, in my mind, thankfully, it would be a little bit more protected if he were to throw it down in the main. So harder to snipe off for DIMAGA if he wants to deny some kind of upgrade advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it is a risk not to get the Forge. And look at Twilight Council coming down. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's coming out. And to be honest, I'm not sure if that's going to be for DTs or Blink, if I'm totally honest with you.
Go either way.
With DTs, I feel it's a little bit too late. Blink play, it can work if it's just a Blink-only Stalker, 2-base Stalker all-in. I know Feast likes Blink play, but the timing of DTs, because it's come down after the expansion, after double gateways as well, but with all 4 gases being taken, I wonder if it's going to be a Templar Archives and just going for... He knows that DIMAGA is a very heavy Zergling player.
Yeah. We were talking about it just before. If he went for some kind of Templar Archives play, then that would be very, very cool to see. He's going to spot that drone heading over to the third base at least, so he should know that that third hatchery is going to go down here.
What is it for, Feast? Show me. Okay, DTs.
Okay.
So DT's going to come at a bit of a later timing here, and that might throw DIMAGA off a little bit. He doesn't have any... Well, he spotted the probe out there, which is going to... Looking for a pylon, so he's got no aggressive stance out on the map yet. At all.
And technically, even if the DTs do fail, he could go for Archons. He would be a little bit less Zealot heavy, though, in that regard, the way in which the distribution goes in the minerals and gas. Ugh. Is this actually going to die? No, okay, Force Field. Okay, stuff here from Feast, sealing himself off, and double Forge goes down behind this. So, in essence, playing very greedy with the lack of gateways.
Yeah, he did take 4 gases really early, so he's got a lot of gas to spare at this point. I'm very interested in the fact that there isn't a probe out on the map. This is going to make this attack even later than it is. There's the pylon that's going to warp in DTs from, realizing he can't get a probe out on the map because of these speedlings. DIMAGA, without getting a layer yet, he actually has enough money to go layer. Okay, sorry, there it is. So he's gone to layer. The timing of the layer, it's going to be very close, as in, I'm not sure if he can save this third base. I think he may be able to, with a very, very close save.
It's going to be close. You're right, it is, because he's going to warp in those DTs very soon. There we go, they're on the way.
Yeah, by the time they walk down there as well, yeah, that's the thing you have to keep in consideration. Walk down there, then start targeting down a third base.
But he's not going to see the blur for ever. So I think if he engages the base, three DTs are going to kill it before even an Overseer morphs in.
Looks like the Observer PC might have gone down. Kolaris, you might be called to duty.
Oh, that's fine by me.
You might be called to duty here. So
we're getting damn lags.
Yeah, we're going to have to switch over to your PC, I think, in a second.
I think so, as we have those DTs actually moving into the third base now here, along with that Mothership core actually moving in. If production can just move over to my PC, that would be fantastic, so that we can actually see these DTs as they are indeed killing this hatchery off. There is a Spore Crawler trying to morph in, but these drones trying to position themselves around it, and they're not going to get it. The hatchery is going to end up falling.
Yeah, quite a lot of lag coming from that game, but 1 second. It looks like we will be able to see this game from here on out. A bit of a problem there for both players, you can see.
I think it would be nice if we could pause
I don't know what
the
happened
game.
to the recall there. The DTs didn't get out, unfortunately, but...
Yeah.
And I don't think we have... Well, very low game sounds, actually, Kolaris. I don't know what's up with that.
Maybe if I enable them. There we go. Oh, I disabled the music. Okay, there it's on. Okay, so nice recall.
Yeah, he didn't get out there with the DTs, unfortunately. But behind this, we are going to see Feast try to take a third base.
Yeah.
Zealot charge is coming down as well. 2-2 starting, so a different, unique style here. DIMAGA's got 2 evolution chambers, 1 for melee, 1 for attack upgrades again.
I'm being told to press Shift L, but my thing's going wrong.
It's okay, don't worry.
Yeah.
What does Shift L do?
Oh, that's what that does. All right.
I don't even know what was there now. It's
Thanks,
gone.
production. Okay.
Okay, so we got Zealot Charge, double upgrades, and Immortals coming in at this point. As Hallucinated Phoenix looking for what's going on.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a look around the map and saw he didn't see the infestation pit, which is quite interesting here. So
No, he didn't.
slightly annoying for him. Meanwhile, a few Zerglings did actually swing on into the natural here, and they're going to run around elsewhere, having a little bit of a look around. He sees Double Forge.
Game paused.
And what else has he actually seen here? He hasn't seen all of those gateways in the back, along with that charge.
Yeah, a little bit of lag here called by Feast, so he just wants to pause it for a second before we jump into this, so hold on a second. But as we can see there, 14 roaches are being about to be made.
Yeah.
Bit of pressure coming in from DIMAGA.
No worries, though. I got me observing pants on now. It's
Okay.
fine.
I'm excited to see what you can do on a mouse.
All right. Good stuff. Although, I've got... Actually, no, this gives me the opportunity to turn health bars onto a different... Actually, no, we'll leave them on, because the I'm not a fan of the new, what's it called? Damaged health bars. They've changed them a little bit.
All right, so I think everything's okay now. We'll be jumping into this in a second. So thank you for your patience to the players as well, when you clearly watch this video back.
Well, if they analyze the VODs... Although, wait a minute, they'll have the replay, so I guess not. All right, so game begins again. These Zerglings having a little bit of a look around. Pretty much see everything. And if we could get sound... I can't actually hear the sound for some reason. I haven't muted it, so there we go.
All right, so we are in the game ready to continue on now.
Yep.
There we go.
All right, so Hallucinated Phoenix still having a look around. And once again, did it see the infestation pit is the question. He did actually see the infestation pit, yes.
Okay, so he may be thinking he's playing against a Ling Ultra style, as that's ideally what DIMAGA was going for here. With double upgrades coming down, Zealot and potential Archons eventually, and Immortals. That's pretty good against what DIMAGA, or at least Feast, would think DIMAGA's going for at this point.
Yeah.
But it's quite a few roaches, as you can see. 26 roaches, only 61 drones at this point. A lot less economy focused here by DIMAGA. He's just trying to max out as fast as possible, getting roach speed. This is interesting, because if we see Feast move out soon, which we all know Feast likes to do, he'd have to have the Mothership core with him. Otherwise, he could lose a lot.
And the thing is that he's just had Zealot Charge finish. He has a lot of gateways to actually warp in from. If I check that, he's at 10 gateways now across these 3 bases. With a Warp Prism on the way as well, it's certainly gearing up to be some kind of assault. But those roaches moving into assault positions themselves here. There's a lot of DTs in that composition, though. He doesn't have any detection for that. Those Dark Templars are going to do a lot of damage along with these Immortals as well here. Some of those roaches just flying on back. So much damage being done by Feast, and really not that much being done by DIMAGA right now.
Yeah, really good force fields and time warp there. Feast crushed that, but still, look how many units are in production. DIMAGA has a lot of units here. Feast got to be careful. He's got no force fields, and if the Lings get a full surround here, there are 3 Archons that would save him against the Zerglings, but more and more roaches are coming. DIMAGA playing a very aggressive style here. +2 melee on his Zerglings, +1 attack on the roaches. A very unique, aggressive play from DIMAGA. But as long as there's enough sentries, and the Immortal production is already so high, I'm very surprised that, I'd be very surprised if Feast was to be broken.
And the thing is that we have no 4th even down for that. Okay, so he does throw one down to the left here to actually get that going. +3 weapons as well as plus shields on the way. What are the upgrades actually sitting at here? We have 2-2 out right now for Feast. So he has a lot of firepower in the army against 1-1 and, well, 1-2 as well.
Well, I mean, what's going to happen in this game is Feast is going to just set up a good defense, drop his opponent at the same time. DIMAGA's going to have a hard time dealing with this. Remember, DTs are available. Zealot Charge is likewise available here. I think that Feast is in a pretty good position despite being down in supply at this point. A good warping in the main base, an incredibly strong army.
Yeah, he's going to push this away. These Zerglings and Roaches not really going to do too much against that. 1 DT does lead the charge with these 2 Zealots. Meanwhile, a big push here from DIMAGA, trying to kill off some of the infrastructure of his opponent, just marching on in. He actually forces the recall straight on home, and he was trying to apply some pressure at the 3rd base as well. DIMAGA really stretching his opponent so thinly. He's going to try and bring down the Forges. He gets it before +3 weapons finishes, as well as the armor. But at the same time, the DTs and Zealots are doing pretty well in the main.
Yeah, I truly believe that Feast moved out of position at a very bad time there. He should have been a bit more idle with his units on the high ground, just protecting any sort of aggressive move. DIMAGA's playing aggressive. He moved out and allowed DIMAGA to get in at this position, killing the 3rd base, killing both of the Forges. That slowed down Feast a lot in this game. He's still got the stronger army when it comes to a head-on fight, but DIMAGA's chasing towards that hive. If he's able to get there, But what does he go for it with the Spire coming down? He'd have to go Greater Spire. Ultraviolet just doesn't make sense at this point. So still, despite DIMAGA getting that third base, Feast has a much, much stronger army. And I don't see how DIMAGA stops this army from killing him at this point.
Yeah, it's 52 workers right now to 67. But Feast, unfortunately for him, he's long-distance mining at some of these locations, as that Nexus did get killed off at the third. That's really, really irritating for him. And Feast, this is almost kind of a last-ditch effort for him in terms of his army composition. It's as strong as it's ever going to be right now against what we're seeing from DIMAGA. With that Spire finishing up in just a second, but then again, it would take a while for that Greater Spire to finish up as well. Oh, those force fields! He catches so many roaches against this. A great pickup there for Feast. Army counts right now 109 to 94. Time Warps as well, trying to push on in. A lot of firepower here from Feast. Is he going to be able to break him, though?
I truly believe so, Kalaris. He has so many Archons, so many Mortals, and 1,000 Zealots. Yes, Roaches are great versus them, but the problem is they got charge as well. It's going to be very difficult for DIMAGA to hold on.
He sets himself up a great concave, but I don't know whether or not it's actually going to be enough. These Zealots tanking so much damage here with that +2 armor, along with these Archons throwing down a lot of damage in the back, dealing massive, massive damage to those Roaches, powering on forwards. Even a DT in the mix, actually being spotted by that Spore Crawler, but it doesn't really matter. 162 supply, GG! Game number 2 goes to Millennium Feast, and you've all been saved by my observing.
The 19-year-old keeps his dreams alive here in the Premier League. He was looking down and kind of out of it, but all of a sudden, a great style, perfect against DIMAGA's unit composition in this game.
Yeah.
I still think that Feast made a couple of strategical movement errors, but overall, that was a nice game, and DIMAGA shakes his head there, a little bit disappointed with his game there, as the series is tied, and we're going to the final map, which, if I remember, is Daybreak.
Yes, and I said that if there was ever going to be a map for Feast to try and do some shenanigan with the Mortals, it might be this one. But again, considering the positioning of the gases at the natural and considering how easy that can be for an Overlord to spot, it might not come along. Yeah. There's a lot of influential factors here going into game number 3. One apiece. Neither player wants to lose it. Does someone risk it all on some crazy aggression? That's insane.
Yeah, it's a big risk to take, a big gamble for sure, but you know, we just have to look at how Feast changed up his style from game 1 to game 2. A DT play into sniping the third was great. The double forges were fantastic. They set him up beautifully to be able to take a third base after a slowed down DIMAGA.
Yeah.
And DIMAGA not happy with that loss, as you can see on screen, not at all happy. But he's going to have to deal with it and stay strong and build some strength ready to take Feast on in map number 3.
I think it's important to note, though, for players that aren't necessarily as experienced at the game, that despite the lag that actually happened there with the 3 DTs at third base, it was almost impossible at that point for him to save that base. Considering
absolutely, yeah.
the fact that 3 DTs are swiping away at it, there was a Spore Crawler morphing in, sure, but it would have never finished up in time for that to be saved. So, if anything, the lag affected Feast more than it did DIMAGA.
He missed his recall, was the outcome there.
So, oh well. Anyway, game number 3, Daybreak will be the map. Mr. Feast needs some time a second here as we get geared up for game number 3. And again, it's got to the point in the round of 16 where losing any of these players moving into the round of 8 is kind of sad. Look at that smile. One of the best smiles in all of StarCraft
2. He loves his fans cheering for him. He always does. Great sign there by that guy.
It's that guy. He doesn't have a shot on today, but it is that guy. I'll let them do the talking.
Looks like the crowd is split in half here, Kalaris, with who they want to win, DIMAGA or Feast. Fans from both sides.
The Feast sign, he tries to put it behind Demon's sign, like, not sure that works out too well.
One of these players goes to Challenger League. One moves on to fight against Thorzane. This is a very tense, very important game for both of these players. Nobody wants to go down to Challenger League having, you know, worked their way through. I mean, actually looking at Feast is the only player alongside Happy to have actually qualified through the qualification system to be here today. And if he was to drop into Challenger League, I'm sure he'd be upset with things. Likewise, DIMAGA to be invited to throw that opportunity away to move on to the next round. It's a terrible position to be in the losers match. Unfortunately, one of them has to go down, and one gets another chance to keep in this Premier League.
They do, and we'll find out who that's going to be as game number 3 is loaded up and good to go. So let's jump right on in here as we have Feast and DIMAGA facing off for this 3rd and final game. Belgium versus the Ukraine. Everyone likes crossing their arms. And we are now spawning up to the top right as our Red Protoss, evening up the series. How is he going to play out game number 3? Give it up for Millennium Feast. And spawning down to the bottom left as our Blue Zerg, representing the Ukraine, currently teamless. Give it up for DIMAGA.
Okay, Glaris.
Okay, Apollo.
What happens in this game? I do not know, and it's a difficult question to ask you, I just realized. And I'll take the hit and say I don't know. And I'm excited for today's game. All of today's games.
As am I. As am
Consistently excited at WCS Glaris.
Yeah.
Always excited.
It's been fantastic thus far, and it's going to be even more fantastic once we get into that round of 8.
The round of 8 is just going to be out of this world. It really will be.
But you asked, I'm going to have to come back to it. You
All
asked
right, go on then.
what
Go on then. What's
going
going to happen then? Go on, tell me.
I have no clue. No, okay, so no. All right, okay. So I don't think Feast goes with the immortal little push that we talked about earlier. I think Feast kind of draws it out and tries to hit a Colossus timing.
You think he uses the same build as Star Station, like he did against Stefano? That kind of play?
Yeah.
One Void Ray over to Colossus?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go with that. I think if it's the last game, he has to pull out his A+ performance.
Yeah.
But at the same time, considering what I said on Bel'shir Vestige, and I liked Feast's more aggressive play that we saw him use in game number 2, I would rather see that. I don't know what they're cheering for.
What's that chant? What is it?
Red Eye?
Red Eye, yeah. Red Eye teasing these guys over
Maybe.
there. All right, so Forge inside the main base. Going to be hiding his +1 attack, of course, away from DIMAGA. Also protects it from DIMAGA sniping it. You brought that point up previous. Always, two advantages from having it there. Disadvantage being that it's not a part of the wall. If we were to see an early pull, there's no probe scout, there's no wall off. If there was a 13 pull with 6 slings built, he's in trouble. He's taken that risk to the benefit of hiding that Forge.
He is.
But DIMAGA just opening up with spawn and pull, 2 Zerglings alone. DIMAGA isn't that guy to make those calculated risks as much, I don't think. He's more of a guy that would, change up his style more than changing all in, or creating all in, should I say.
And with that, the gas goes down. Second gas as well. Everything's been spotted. DIMAGA knows what's going on. The gateway gets thrown down in the wall. And we'll see that cybernetics core probably go down there as well. Ooh, very quick third hatchery here.
Yeah, nice third hatchery. So just normal play against Nexus first, I suppose to say.
Yeah.
You don't want to delay it too much. And it should be a good setup by DIMAGA. It's going to be very important. Actually, I was going to say it'd be very important for DIMAGA to know his timings, but the thing is that this style DIMAGA's using, he used for ages. He was one of the top Zerg players when this was the norm to do every single game, and Gateway Expands weren't so popular.
Yeah.
More so Wings of Liberty because of the lack of Mothership Core, which really pushed out the Gateway openings in Heart of the Swarm here. But DIMAGA's going to know his timings. He's going to know if he wants to play this out normally, his gas timings around 5:45 to 6 minutes, getting the Ro16 in Evolution Chamber around 7 minutes to make sure he's going to be good against any 2 base players. So DIMAGA, I think, would be very comfortable in the position that Feast has put himself in.
That was cute. Well, he sent out a probe to retrieve another probe.
Double gas again pretty early. DIMAGA's going to be all over scouting in this game. And what's that coming down? Stargate. Double gases before Stargate means he's going to have quite a bit of gas banked up. So if he wants to go over to Robotics Facility once again quite early with sentries protecting his third, definitely viable from this position. Not going to really see any 2 base pushes, I don't think. I think he is actually setting himself up to go for that third.
I mean, it's interesting that Ling is able to spot that third gas over there. Like, normally it's the Overlord that has to be spotting that, but cute little guy, well positioned.
Yeah, well positioned actually. And the Overlord inside the main base is actually well positioned to spot the Forge too, if he wants to go in and have a quick poke.
Oh,
he's already saw the Stargate. So he's actually, DIMAGA's got full vision so far. He knows everything, absolutely everything. There actually isn't anything that's been hidden yet.
Yeah.
He goes in and even spots the Void Ray Edition. And double Evolution Chamber thrown down immediately.
Along with Robo for Feast, so...
And usually that's... Sorry, just cut in. Usually that's an evolution of Roach Warren to be safe, but because he's seen what's going on...
He's fine. He's fine and dandy. Yeah, the sound effects. And with that, I mean, does he go for extra queens? It's something DIMAGA likes to do. It sets himself up nicely for the mid-game when he's actually just crushing armies left and right with queen accompaniment.
Yeah. He's mistimed his gas a little bit because he can't start 1-1, as you can see. But he will be able to go into... I'm pretty sure he's going to go melee upgrades, right? And the reason for that is because he's going to want to deny this fast-taken third base with Zerglings again. And if he's able to pull that off... Unfortunately, supply blocked.
Yeah.
At 70 supply, that's something we shouldn't be seeing. At this level of play, such an important game, that's not nice to see. And he's throwing down a macro hatch to compensate, but still his drone catch should have been a little bit higher than it is. But what he's going to do... it's not a macro hatch. Wait a minute, he's got a macro hatch and a fourth base. Bloody hell. Okay. Speeding that up. But what we're going to see is a flurry of Zerglings. His drone count is 59. That's nice. So he's going to try and deny this base. It's going to be down to Feast not to let that happen.
Because if he does, that fourth base economy is going to run him over really, really hard.
Yeah.
Malaya's morphing in as well.
This is very important for Feast not to mess this up. The mothership core is going AWOL.
Where is it?
South, I think.
South.
And
oh, wow, yeah.
That's not... It needs to be hugging that Nexus to help defend, to foot an overcharge. Cannons need to come down. Gateway's in front of this. Zealots be warped in. Everything. Can't lose this base to a few Zerglings.
A lot of cannons being set up there. He has a good amount of sentries there to be able to throw down force fields. So that'll help out.
Yeah, he's not going to lose the base. With the Void Ray there, the 2 cannons about to complete, he's going to be okay. But he's got to be careful of run-bys to the main. DIMAGA maybe trying to go for it. DIMAGA, oh. Zealots there, okay, Zealots there. So good setup by Feast. Good setup from him. DIMAGA, though, has droned quite furiously behind this.
Yep, 78 workers to the 61, so Mr. DIMAGA is going to have an insane economy very, very quickly here. I'm wondering if I don't think he saw those drones actually transferring over to that fourth base, so that's a little bit of a oversight, and those Zerglings are positioned in an interesting location, and they will have to run away now.
So what we're going to see, Claris, is a 2-base push again, most likely from Feast. With the Twilight Cancer coming in, +2 on Blink should start, and we're going to see the same push as previous. This time, I think what he'll do, maybe, is increase his sentry count a little bit more. Maybe. I think he pushed out with 4 to 5 last time. It may be a little bit higher this time. Just a couple more. Maybe. If he wants to keep his Stalker count a bit lower and his sentry count higher, just to make sure he doesn't get surrounded again, because it is going to be only Zerglings to defend this. The +1 missile attacks is coming in again.
But look how quick that infestation pit finished. He's going to go up to hive very, very fast here.
11-minute hive.
Wow. And he's got 7 queens out right now. So any kind of aggression that would come along from Feast is going to be greeted by a lot of Zerglings, massive amounts of Zerglings across 6 hatcheries, as well as those queens in tandem. Feast has to be so careful about the way in which he moves out.
DIMAGA's not taking gases on the 4th and 5th base yet because he just wants the extra production to be able to mass mount lings.
Yeah.
And also the fact that he has he has a really good mineral income to be able to make these lings too. As soon as he deals with this push, which I think he may suspect is coming, he'll take all the gases and throw the Ultras Cavern down. But here comes the gateway play. How many sentries are there? Did he stay on 5?
He has 5
okay,
still,
he's on 5. But they're almost full in energy. He has to be so careful with these sentries. The force fields has to be crisp. They actually need to be MC force fields. 106 lings already out. 24 more on the way. Here comes the Warp Prison to back this attack up. This is going to be... This game's going to end one way or the other here.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Feast. The Zerglings, did they get a probe?
Oh, that's annoying because that probe obviously wants to build a pylon to be aggressive with, so he's going to have to rely on that Warp Prison.
He is. The Hive's going to finish up in just a second here. And again, for DIMAGA, this composition, in terms of transitioning onto the late game, is perfect. He spends all of his minerals on lings and queens. There's no gas going into those. He banks all of that up for the transition that comes eventually, but DIMAGA needs to set his Zergling positioning up
all his
very
queens,
well.
All his queens here. Missile attack. No, and the melee. The melee's only 1-1 again. It's only 1-1 for these Zerglings. Force
Perfect
fields.
timing.
Show me the force fields. And here comes the surround. Look at this. Lings coming from every angle. Here we go.
He's going to try and go for it. He tries to swing him from the back. He gets it regardless. The force fields are not good enough here. He needs to throw more down. The Queens are trying to bring down one of the Colossi. They get it. And they're going to bring down the second one as well. He recalls out. He has to go. But even more Stalkers there left to go. He blinks into a Warp Prism somehow.
And now all gases will be taken on these bases. And he's going right up to Ultras. I'm so surprised only 2 force fields came down. And when they did, the Colossus killed them anyway. I'm not sure if he was spamming force fields and the Colossus were tramping all over them. But They weren't there. And DIMAGA pushes that back easily. He, as mentioned, should be taking all the gases now. He's got the Ultras cavern down. I think he's going to realize I don't have enough gas at this point and will build all the extractors because it's actually missing. And then the Spire's down, the Greatest Spire's down. That will be coming down.
The thing is, though, compliments where it's due. DIMAGA took that engagement so well, considering what Feats was doing there. He didn't throw down the force fields at the back to try and trap that off. He's roasting up a few Zerglings here now, but look at that upgrades production here on the way for DIMAGA, getting everything out at this point. He knows he can afford it. He knows he has time for just a little bit. And the Ultralisks are on the way.
Ultras are going to be here, Claris, and the Queens have plenty of energy to shoot some transfuses over. Look at that. Look at that. These Ultras are not going to die easy. They do have pretty decent upgrades. There's no armor upgrades, I don't think, for Feast. This is going to be difficult. Here comes the flashy blue, stylish Ultralisks.
Not going to be able to cause quite a lot of havoc here if he's not careful. He throws down force fields, but that's not going to be enough. The Zerglings at the back have been able to clean up a lot of the reinforcements as well as seal this force in here. And those Ultralisks absolutely going to town. They just don't die. The Queens have too much energy, and the Colossi microing back, trying their best, tries to pick one up, but it's not enough. 160 supply to 97. Feast is on the verge of being crushed.
DIMAGA's always been such a good player at dealing with these kind of attacks, and once again is displaying that high level of skill and his 170 supply in the lead over 100 for Feast. Great upgrades are going to complete very shortly, and unfortunately for Feast, he is in a world of trouble facing elimination here today in the round of 16, facing Challenger League. This is not looking good for the Belgian player. I mean, even Corrupt has been added into the mix now. They're going to go to town on the Colossus. An emergency second robotics facility is coming down. An emergency immortal production has begun with Zealot Charge and Zealots. This is desperation from Feast.
And you know what's interesting, actually, Apollo? We've been speculating what this range has been for the whole time, maybe to transition on later on, but it's for the Queens. It's for the Queens. They keep focusing down Colossi and engagements once he gets to that position. And they're doing a really good job. It's hard to actually comprehend that, you know, you get Queens to deal with Colossus, but it's true. He's been using them to full potential. I've been clicking on the Queens each time, and they've been focusing down on Colossi.
Well, very shortly, we're about to see the end of Feast here. I don't know how it's possible to stay in this game because he needs a fourth base. His main base is probably close to mining out, maybe 100, 200 minerals left per field. And if he comes down to a low economy versus DIMAGA, who has the world. He has everything. He has the entire of the map. He could take every single base if he wants to at this point. Feast is trying to pull off a warp prism play inside the main base, but DIMAGA's already there. He has Spore Crawlers coming at 12 Spore. Yeah, you know what? 13. Why not?
Why not?
Why there? You know, he's just going to probably cancel and try to go over the 200 supply mark. I thought they were across all the bases, but being there as one, he's just going to increase his supply count. And Feast is building one last army. There goes the warp prism.
Admittedly,
that's it. That's his army. Look at it.
Yeah, army supply count is 142 to 81. This is, admittedly, getting out Archons eventually with high Templar Archives as well as Immortals is going to be a good composition, but against the size of army that DIMAGA has, he just has more stuff, guys.
He has a lot of stuff, Lars. And look at the creep spread. DIMAGA is just spooning it up.
Yep, he's happy to sit out here, restricted.
He's basically saying, hey, buddy, you know money? I love it.
I love it
you want some too? Come try, take it. Come have some money. And then as soon as Feast wants that, he's going to get crushed, unfortunately. Look at the surround about to happen. South side, ready to go. North, ready to go. As soon as he goes in the middle, as soon as he takes that fourth or tries to, or at least clear the creep, crunch.
DIMAGA's been working on this so heavily in terms of his surrounds and focusing on one point on a map and converging so well. And it's worked out great for him in the past few games. How well is it going to work out for him here? He's going to swing on through. A lot of Lings actually pushing on in here. Time Warp actually did delay a lot of this from pushing on forwards, but the Corruptors and Queens, they're too much of a reinforcement for DIMAGA to, well, for Feast to actually try and break right now.
Feast falling back into a better position where his army can do well here. But we're about to see 4 Immortals left back. You need to get them over there, my friends.
It's hard to rendezvous along with that army, though, considering its position. He'd have to go all the way around the third. He's going to go out, actually send some probes to board that location. But the Great Aspire is now on the way behind us. He has no force fields to deny any of this, but even if he could, those are Ultralisks, so they will easily crush that. Moving on forwards. And once again, Feast doing all right, to be honest, but the Corruptors...
You know, I'm so surprised that DIMAGA hasn't just piled so much gas. He hasn't taken the gas in the middle of the map or even at the north base.
Yeah.
You know, I talked about how important it is to take them. I'm very surprised he hasn't, because this is actually, he hasn't even got in that extractor up north, which ultimately is keeping Feast in the game, because if DIMAGA just throws this army away, he probably would have had so much more money available to build a new army.
Well, the Ultralists are kind of being bottled up at the back there. One of them does end up pulling away, and good transfuses keep it alive, but Feast is making more of a meal of this than DIMAGA initially anticipated, Schnarf, and still actually pushing on here with the Ultralists and those Zerglings. The Immortals are doing a really good job of trying to clean this up, but there's too many Zerglings flooding on forth once again, along with those Queens. 163 to Splitter with 95. Feast still up against it, but he's holding on. Yeah,
he's holding on, and it's just because, like I said, I think DIMAGA could have done much, much better with his economy in this game, but I think he just feels he's won it outright, which, you know, he almost has at this point, but you really can't get complacent. One mistake, and he's out in Challenger League, but he is up there. There's the GG.
GG. DIMAGA moves on to play against Thorzane for that final round of 8 spots. Apollo, are we going to have another Terran, or are we going to have our third Zerg?
I don't know.
No?
It's that simple. I don't know. It's a rematch, Kalaris. They played today to begin with.
Yeah.
We saw Thorzane beat out DIMAGA with Hellbat use. It's time for DIMAGA to step it up a level here and beat out Thorzane.
It is. How well is DIMAGA going to play here? He has to overcome that first series. And Feast now, he falls down to Challenger League, unfortunately for him, but the qualification throughout that and playing so well in the round of 32, a valiant effort from that gentleman.
A great effort here today by Feast, but DIMAGA's the one that comes out, and he'll be moving on to play against Thorzane. As we said, that's going to be a cool series to watch. Remember, that's going to be happening in roughly 5 to 10 minutes' time. I'm quite excited for that. I want to see the development, the changes that DIMAGA's going to bring to the table when going up in the rematch against EG's Thorzane.
I mean, you've got to remember, he will have been able to watch Stefanos play.
As the crowd showing their appreciation to Feast here today, as Feast acknowledges their support. Fantastic crowd. You guys have been awesome. All week, not just today, all week. A lot of people turned out today, and that was pretty cool.
A lot of Feast fans here.
Yeah.
A lot of Feast fans. All right, guys, we're going to send it over to an interview with our victor, Mr. DIMAGA and Red Eye.
Thanks very much. Yeah, the big roar you heard was actually Feast just popping over to thank his fans for travelling all the way down from Belgium, all the way to Germany to support him. So, nice touch there. I'm with the winner, DIMAGA. One more game, and you make the round of 8. It's still a tough thing, but let's go back a little bit and talk about the match. First one, Lings. Nice. Worked well.
Pretty good unit. I was really happy when I see Starport, like when I see Voidray in first game, so I know how to counter, and it works pretty well.
Worked very well. Second match, not quite so good though. Where did it go wrong for you?
DTs was... I kind of expected, because I see a really late Robo in his entrance on Natural, so I make one Spore at Natural. I just... probably need to make second Spore in my third base, then it can be another way, but yeah, just bad for me.
And then third map, I don't think I've seen that much creep spread on a map for a while. It was almost like at one point on our screen, creep spread was almost everywhere. You even denied him getting back to another fort because there was just no way he could get out. I mean, was that just constant pressure all the time, or what was the game plan?
Yeah, game plan was, I see he's playing kind of greedy, like Nexus first, like forcing the main and Nexus first, no scouting. So I just play my standard game, and then I was really lucky that I see his starport in the main. It just started, he probably didn't see my overload, didn't recognize it. I was, oh, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, so as I said before, I know how to play against starport opening, I think so. So it was also pretty good. I just against after like Colossus pressure, you just need really good surround. You still can lose pretty easily if you have really good force fields.
I have to say your surrounds tonight were really on point. They were really good.
Thank you.
So, one more game. Thorzane. How do you match up? What are your thoughts on it?
It will be really tough because like this Hellbats play, Hellbats drop, it's always like really solid play. So I don't know. We'll see.
We will see, that's for sure. Thank you very much to DIMAGA. He is through to the final game tonight, the deciding match with Thorzane to find our final man in the round of 8. Don't forget, the round of 8 draw will take place live on this show before we go out tonight. And we have WCS Extra as well to come. Carmack and a Bumblebee, you won't want to miss that. It's not this man in a Bumblebee outfit, it's actually Carmack. Let's go over to some analysis now from Apollo.
Thank you, Red Eye, once again. I'm just going to take you through that last map one more time to have a look at what Feast's plan was and where it really fell down. He had a specific plan to go and attack, but it didn't quite work. So I want to have a look at it and why it didn't work. So as you can see, if we just pause it for one more second, just look at the army composition that he's made. 3 Colossus, he's got 5 Sentries, a Void Ray, and 5 Zealots. So what his plan is, because he knows how DIMAGA plays, very Zergling heavy, right? So his plan now is to move in, ideally be on the high ground ramp, and have perfect force fields to cut all the Zerglings from coming in. Does not want to be in open ground area where Zerglings can get a full surround. So let's have a look how he approaches this attack, because that's how he decided he'd play against DIMAGA in this game here. And to be honest, quite a few times against Zerg today. So as he walks forward here, I think if we pause it for a second, one thing that I think is already a problem is the Observer. The Observer's with the army. Why would you need it with the army? I think it should have maybe been out in the open a little bit more so he could see where the main army was going to come from and he could preemptively put force fields down. What I want to do, though, in this analysis is I want to play it through Feast's vision, if you can keep up with me, Funker. So I want to play in his vision and what he sees and what he does. So let's look at not his macro, but more his army, if you can keep up. Right, take the camera button off. There you go. All right, so let's take a look at what he does. Look how much he sees. Not a lot. And I want you to pause it as soon as you see Zerglings come in. Funky. Or Funker, sorry. Right, get ready. Get ready. Still doesn't see anything. What's going on? Is there a counterattack happening? What's going on? Pause. All right, Ling's coming from the side. Look where he is. Feast, at this very point, should come back. Because if he comes back, and if he touches the ramp a little bit, and has the warp prism there as well, he will be able to, on the ramp side, put force fields in a diagonal line towards the hatchery, cutting off the top side, and south, do the same. If you look at his sentry count, he's at 5. How much energy does he have across all 5? Lots. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Many force fields. 15-ish force fields, right? Yeah, many force fields. So let's play and see how he reacts. I'll be quiet as you guys can watch it. Just play it. Misses a force field at the top, misses everything at the south. This here, if you pause it for a second, look, he tried to move back, right? Look at the force field which is missing on the north side. He slaps them down, but is very nervous because they're almost touching each other. There's a gap by the ramp. 3 force fields cover 2 force field areas. There are no force fields on the south side, and a full surround gets in with the queens in there too. And from here on out, if we play it out, his army just gets crushed. He has an excellent recall. He actually saves his entire army. Look, this mothership core comes in, I'm gonna save you, get out, and he gets out. But at this point, he's already lost his main attack. His main plan was to kill DIMAGA at that point. He falls back on no 4th base, the Ultralists are coming out, so he doesn't really have anything to do with that at that point. And unfortunately, miss micro, miss battle was the main reason why I lost this game. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that analysis, and I'm gonna pass it over to Red Eye once again.
Thanks very much. More fantastic analysis from Apollo. Great to get his insight in the game as well. Another fantastic match this evening. We've had 4 of them now, all 2-1s. We're going to get another one this evening, maybe. But what's the talk on Reddit right now, Mr. Hubner?
Even though that was a great series, everyone's still talking about Stefano Thorzane. There's a huge thread going on Reddit that you should definitely check out and go join the discussion on.
Okay. And what else? What have we got in the live report on Team Liquid?
Actually, there was someone saying something about how they wish DIMAGA would win this next game because of his smile, and that it was just too bad that Thorzane would actually have to go in case DIMAGA won.
So it's a battle of the smilers, and one of them's got to go.
Yes, apparently so.
Okay. What else have you got?
I just wanted to say, this is actually the group of fan favorites. There's 4 people that people just love. There's no one who's actually the bad guy here. So that's why this is what's going on.
Okay. Well, Stefano can be a bad guy.
Kind
No, he can. Trust me. I've been out with him.
Well, I don't know any about that.
Okay, and finally, you got one of the tweets that you particularly liked on the screen.
Yes. Someone said DIMAGA versus Feast was like watching the Zerg attack from the cinematic. He's obviously talking about the Heart of the Swarm intro cinematic.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Okay, that's the Hubner, and he's finished for the night, so we'll give him some time off now, but you can catch up with him. He's going to do something very special in WCS Extra. Trust me, it's going to be fun. You can also still carry on interacting with us using @StarCraft and @ESLTV. Don't forget to use the hashtag, of course, on Twitter, #WCS. We're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, our 5th and final game will decide the 8th man through to the quarterfinals of WCS Europe Premier League.